Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining in. This is just going to be a quick demo video on Arcoro's Sage Intacct and Arcoro Time integration so that you can be able to sync project, employee, cost code, union, labor classification information from Sage Intacct into the Arcoro Time platform, and then flipping that data sync so that you can then sync time records and time punches, time sheets from Arcoro Time into the Sage Intacct system. For today's demo, I'm just going to start on the Sage Intacct side. As I'm sure many of you know, this is on the Intacct in a platform. We have kind of different levels within Intacct. So there's a top level and then an entity level. Depending on the data, we do have different data syncs that will pull information either from the top level for any of your project employee information, and then even at the entity level, again, project data, cost codes, and things like that, labor classifications will come from those different entities that you have set up. On the Arcoro side, you can set up which entity that you want to sync from specifically, so we can help you with that during your implementation. In the Intacct system, just for today's demo, I did set up a few pieces of information in the Intacct database that are not yet on the Arcoro time side. So I've got a new employee as well as a new job that I've set up in Intacct that we're going to be able to show syncing into Arcoro time. On the Arcoro time side, I've got some pre-staged time punches that are from the previous pay period, and I'll be able to sync these over to Sage Intacct, and we'll show you what that looks like. For this data sync, you're going to be using Arcoro's integrations module. So this is cloud-based, and it's as part of the navigation menu between your different modules that you have purchased, but definitely between exact time and integrations, you'll be able to switch between those modules. Once you're in the integrations module, you'll see that you have two data syncs, one from Intacct that pushes data into Arcoro time, and then you've got Arcoro time that pushes data into Intacct. If you click into the pencil icon here, you'll be able to see and even manage what data we are pulling from Intacct into the time platform. So let's say you're not working with, I don't know, labor classifications or any union data, you can turn those off in the data sync, and then the system will process any of those data entities that remain enabled here, and then bypassing any that are skipped. As I noted, I've got some project and employee data that I need to get into the Arcoro Time platform. So you can see here that I'm going to process this data sync, and you simply hit the Run button. You've got a few features where you can filter the data that we're syncing either by employee ID, contractor IDs, or your different locations or project names if you're wanting to filter the data sync to those specific items. Once we hit the run button, you'll see that the sync will initiate, and it'll go through in real time a log of everything that it's doing behind the scenes. So here you can see all the data entities that it's going to process through. You can kind of watch in the main screen here as it works through those items, but you certainly don't have to stay here. So you can click away from this, close the tab, go to a different screen, or maybe process to a different module. The sync is still going to run behind the scenes, as you see here, and it will just kind of finish the process, and you can come back and look at this, or even trigger an email notification to go to you or a team member or a group of team members to get notified once that sync is finished processing. Okay, now that that sync has finished processing, we can see here the very high level at the top of the page, just a little bit about the data sync, the status, how many records we combed through, how many were added, any records that were updated, things that were unchanged. We also have some data validation and business logic and rules in place that live behind the scenes. So your errors will be anything that go against that, and you'll want to resolve those errors. Um, fix the data in the source system in order for it to clear the errors and process through the sync. But as I stated earlier, I did have that one project and that one employee that was in the Intacct system that had not been yet sent to Arcoro time. So as you can see here, through this log, we can see that the sync did add those records to the system. And so all that to say is Sage Intacct is going to be your system of record for your employees, your project data, your cost codes, your labor classifications, your union values, your department values, all of that good stuff. Sage Intacct will remain your system of record for. And then on the Arcoro time side, the Arcoro time will be your system of record for all of your time punches and your time sheets, all of the time data. If we click back into the Arcoro time system, so you can see here, that one employee did sync over. We can show that Rachel Miller is now added into the Arcoro time system. You can edit her profile, grant her access to the online desktop version of Arcoro time, or you can grant mobile access through here. We also have the job that was added. So one job for Juan's Flaming Fajitas was added to the system. So if we take a look, we can see that that job now appears on the Arcoro time side so that you can then uh, have your employees clock into that project. Now, I've already got some time staged and set up in the system. So if we go back to our time cards, we can see here employees Stephen Marks, he's already got some time punches within the last pay period. And so we need to get these over to the Intacct side. And so the easiest way to do that is once your time has been approved on the Arcoro time side, you can go to the sync screen in the integrations module, and we're just going to hit the other data sync that flips the direction. So time into Intacct, we can go ahead and hit the run feature. Now, I do want to limit this data sync just to Steven, so I can grab his employee ID here, and then I'm just going to put the date range of the dates that I want to sync data for. Okay, and I can hit run. Again, the sync is going to process, it's going to pull all those time records, it's going to go through some data validation to make sure that all of the data is accurate, it passes all of its checks. Again, this will process, you can decide to stay on this screen or you can move away from it. Now that the sync has finished running, we can see that the time record has been added into the Intacct side by this added call out. So if we pop over to Intacct, we can then go into our staff timesheets and we will pull up that employee, Stephen Marks. And then we can see the time records that were added for the project cost code that he was assigned to for each of the days. Okay. I hope this demo video has been helpful for you, and we look forward to talking with you on answering any questions that you might have about the Arcoro time and Sage Intacct integration. If you do have more questions or want to get to know more about it, or even just have a conversation with the Arcoro team, please reach out to your account manager or customer success manager. We're happy to answer your questions and set up a call. Appreciate you spending the time here. Hope you have a great rest of your day.